Hey guys, real quick, I'm just going to erase the board because all of these things, including the things that were up here in the last video, here's the image of that, are pretty much all things I hate about this. So this last, reasons I love, this last point, no, that's not gonna fly here, okay? That's not gonna fly. All right, welcome back to the YouTube channel after I got everything sorted out. What are we talking about today? Well, if you are as big of a Godzilla fan as I am, and let me tell you what, I am a massive Godzilla fan. Let me just, real quick, come with me real quick. We're gonna go, you see that? Please ignore my absolutely messy kitchen. All of those guys up there, that's not even half of my figurines I currently own of Godzilla. I own so much Godzilla paraphernalia. I kind of want to talk about the Netflix original Godzilla. I think it's clear. I love new Godzilla, right? I love older Godzilla. I love really old Godzilla. I saw this in a bargain bin at Walmart, like, not even a year ago. It's mine now. Oh, you bet your bottom dollar I've been binging this day and night. I can recite the whole... I can't do that. I'm not that big of a fan. If you guys are keeping up with the Orlando vlogs right now, which are coming out once a week, you know your boy went to Epcot, and you know he copped himself some Godzilla merch. Look, I've been repping the King of the Monsters since day freaking one, okay? I named my first pet lizard Godzilla. Super original name, I know, especially for a bearded dragon. Actually, the funniest part is, and people who don't watch Godzilla, who don't care about Godzilla, won't find the humor in this. I was at a tie between Anguirus and Godzilla because I think that bearded dragons look a little bit more like Anguirus than they do Godzilla, but I finally was like, no, gotta stay true to the OG Godzilla it is. I have decks of cards, the old collectible cards, straight from Japan, of Godzilla. Being a fan of Godzilla has gotten me into many cool circles. I'm not even making this up. One of my favorite kind of opportunities that I ever had was working at Reptile Park in Angleton, Texas. Shout out Crocodile Encounter. And one of the ways we actually connected so well was he was like, "What got you into reptiles?" The main guy there was, and I was like, "Well, I just loved Godzilla since I was young." And he's like, "Word? Me too." So we hit it off immediately right then. Bunch of nerds. And this is why I think I can talk about the Netflix original series, Godzilla. Episode 1 is called Planet of the Monsters. I'm going to talk about all three. So the first episode is called Planet of the Monsters. That's the one that's going to be playing in the background. The next one is going to be called City on the Edge of Battle. And the third one is called Godzilla Planet Eater. And today, we're not making a script. What we're going to do is we're going to write down a few key points for me to talk about. This is not a script, okay? Not a script. Okay. First thing we're going to talk about is the G-Man himself, okay? Oh, by the way, spoilers. Just by the way. But trust me, you don't want to watch this. Spoiler for this video. G-Man himself. That's our first topic. What's next? Oh, the humans. Then we're going to talk about the alien races that are in it. Then we're going to talk about, you know what, shoot, that will tie in perfectly to the next point, which is Mechagodzilla and the blunder that was, Netflix. What the heck, man? And then finally, we're just going to have a few closing remarks. All right? I feel the need to write this down because future Marcus will forget, even though he has been off the bottle for a while now, actually. But before we get into any of these points, let me set up a little bit of the backstory for this, honestly. Humanity's been going down a path of destroying the Earth. You know, commentary, topical, whatever. So they're destroying the Earth fights back and creates a Titan, creates Godzilla. Godzilla, unstoppable killing machine, humans have no choice but literally to flee the planet or be exterminated by this creature. The humans build a bunch of spaceships. A lot of them escape, not all of them escape, as it's shown in the beginning of this. They're getting shot down with this friggin' atomic heat ray and stuff like that. The humans are gone for like 20 years on the spaceship's time. But they've been so far away from the Earth that the Earth has gone around the sun a bunch more times than they've been around. You catching me? When they get back to Earth, it's aged like 10,000 years. So by this point, the dominant life form on the planet, Godzilla, everything is evolving around him. The birds, the small King Ghidorahs that are flying around, the bugs, the trees, everything is becoming Godzilla. Because now, instead of humans being the peak of evolution, Godzilla is the peak of evolution, and everything's trying to rush to catch up with him. That's a really cool story. They come back to Earth, and they're going to try to get back on Earth and maybe repopulate, because one, maybe Godzilla's dead, He seems to be an animal, just like a lot of other animals and humans, so clearly he has a lifespan, maybe he's dead. Two, they just want to go back to Earth. They run out of resources, space sucks. If you read Warhammer 40k, yeah, space sucks. They don't want to live out in space anymore. Along the way, they've come across two other alien races, which we'll get into later. So let's start off with G-Man himself. In this rendition of Godzilla, and we're not going to talk about, now there are comics that lead up to the events that happen in this. I haven't read them. I know, biggest Godzilla fan in the world, and I have not read the comics that precede this. So maybe there's some part of the lore that I'm missing, and maybe that's why it's so boring, but I'm guessing by the reception of the fan base of Godzilla that that's not the case, because I'm in a lot of groups on Facebook, and I know a lot of other nerds who really like Godzilla, and they're all like, wow, this sucks. Godzilla, in my opinion, is best when he's just kind of a force of nature fighting back against humanity. That's why I really like Shin Godzilla, because it's kind of like an unstoppable force that the Earth has created to stop humanity from progressing. I really like that idea. I really enjoy the idea that this almost demonic entity rises from the depths of the ocean to give humans, the what for, as far as oh, well, you've been disrespecting Earth long enough, it's time the Earth disrespects you back. Godzilla in this is one, honestly, the idea they had for Godzilla in this is very, very cool. I really like the idea that they had for Godzilla. Godzilla is a force of nature, he's unstoppable, and he is, what he is so dominant and is so overpowering on this planet. Everything's trying to become Godzilla in its own form. The trees are made out of Godzilla. The animals are made out of Godzilla. The bugs are made out of Godzilla. Godzilla is Earth. Earth is Godzilla. It's all becoming one. After the humans left, he basically destroyed all the rest of the civilization. The jungle grew back over everything, and now the jungle is Godzilla. Godzilla is the jungle, blah. So they come in contact. They come back to Earth. They send down some scout parties. They come in contact, and they're like, dang, Godzilla's not dead. He out here. We really be out here. Throughout the entirety of the first movie, all they're doing is they're trying to kill Godzilla. It's a big theme with all Godzilla movies, basically. Unless there's an alien threat, but whatever. By the end of the first movie, they end up killing Godzilla. What they think is their Godzilla, the Godzilla that they know. It's not. That's one of his sons. And then Daddy Godzilla rises up, and he stands up, and he's so much bigger than anything else. Which leads into the next movie. We cannot talk about the next movie without talking about the aliens. Pump the brakes real quick, and let me get the names of these races on the aliens. Alright, so you can see I've written Exif and Billy right here. Billy, because I don't know how to pronounce this word. All you need to know about these two guys is that this guy is a religious... Hold on. Yeah? Yeah. All you need to know about these guys is that this guy's a religious extremist, so we're just going to call him Religion. And then we're just going to call this guy Techno, because this alien race believes only in the power of technology. I completely skipped over humans. We will get back to them. Do not worry. We're going to put a star next to them, so don't remember. At the end of the class, if I've forgotten, please raise your hand, and I will get back to these guys. Honestly, in Godzilla, they're not very interesting, in my opinion. There's a couple of storylines where, they've got King Ghidorah and they've got Gigan, and both of those guys are aliens, right? So whoever controls those guys, especially King Ghidorah, because King Ghidorah is he's honestly, aside from the G-Man himself, King Ghidorah is my favorite of all the Toho Kaiju. I love King Ghidorah with my whole life, and Mecha King Ghidorah, oh, beautiful. Beautiful. But the alien species themselves are not super interesting to me. I know to a lot of people they really like them. In Godzilla Final Wars, we had that kind of black-haired scene alien guy. He was cool. I kind of liked him because he was so over the top, which is why I hate pretty much both of these guys. Both of these guys are so understated. Yeah, sure, Billy here is like super militaristic, which is traits I usually like in lore. I really like the hyper militaristic, conquer all of these other nations. These guys kind of are, but not really. So these guys fled their planet. Same with these guys. Both of you guys have fled their planet and came to Earth before G-Man made his original appearance as a warning, because they had Godzilla-like creatures spawn from their planet. So Godzilla is like an entity in this universe. He's not really a creature, he's more of a spiritual entity. That will come back with these guys later. Don't forget that. Once again, putting a star next to it. If I forget about spiritual entities, by the end of this lecture, this part of the lecture, before I move on to Mechagodzilla and his blunder, please raise your hand in the back, okay? So Godzilla will spawn in different planets. Different forms of Godzilla, maybe it's the same Godzilla. I don't remember whether it's gone into. Once again, I've only ever seen these things once or twice because they suck. These guys flee. And they're part of the reason that the humans, boy and girl, can flee the planet. Fly away, right? Because they're super, they've got interstellar travel down. Don't know why they would come to another doomed planet, but whatever. Out of the goodness of their heart, probably not. Both of these races are so boring. They are so boring. They're just humans. I know people who are more obsessed with their cars than these guys are obsessed with their future technology of living metal. Foreshadowing. These guys are religious fanatics. That could be so good. And in the third movie, it almost becomes good. The religion that they believe in, spoiler alert, just going to spoil it for you, is King Ghidorah. They believe in King Ghidorah. They believe that King Ghidorah is the purge to take Godzilla away from planets. Why they couldn't do it on their home planets? Don't remember. They probably came up with an excuse. Maybe not. Don't know. Honestly, don't care. These three movies are so friggin' boring. Don't waste your time. Watch this instead. It's going to be much shorter. It's going to be much more entertaining, I hope. So, they all get on the ship, and they're up there. We're intermingling, blah, 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 interbreeding, perhaps, blah, blah, blah. Relationships are forming. There's one of the Exif that forms. We're just going to call him James. James is the main Exif that talks to the main human of our guys. We're going to call the main human Blake. James and Blake kind of have a good friendship, okay? There are three main Billies. We're going to call him Billy Bob, for Billy Bob Thornton. The second one, Thornton, and we're going to call the last one Junior, right? It honestly doesn't matter. These guys are never really brought up. They all suck. They're all bland. They just want to fuse with living metal to become the ultimate machine. Spoiler alert. Old Blake and James here, right? They're kind of friends, right? So Blake, when he goes down to Earth and he kills the son of Godzilla, kills the son, the father stands up and he's super mad. In this siege that killed the son, right? And that woke up the father because of how big it was, Blake's main, lieutenant, his commander, died. Okay, so we're going to call that guy Judy. It was a dude, but we're going to call him Judy because he was a little sissy boy. Judy's dead, which means that Blake, for some reason or another, even though I don't believe he was actually second in command, becomes the new commander. Everyone follows Blake. Blake's moral compass is James. I'm putting this in major air quotes because James is a piece of trash. This guy's manipulative, he's bad, and you see that once you get past this guy, because you know what? No, we're going a little bit farther. Screw this closing remarks thing, we're going to talk about King Ghidorah. Alright, you follow me, class? If the bell rings, you do not have my permission to leave. So, now that this is all sorted out for you, right, we're going to talk a little bit about the humans before going any further into the aliens, because going any further into the aliens, I've already spoiled a little bit. These guys, Billy Bob, Thornton, and Junior, all want to become living metal, right? That's their ultimate goal. This guy wants to become one with a cosmic being, King Ghidorah. That's his ultimate goal. The humans in this story, typically, unless we're talking about the 1998 American Godzilla, the best part of the story. I hear a lot of idiots complaining about the lack of Godzilla in the two American Godzilla remakes that have come out. Boy, if you don't. Do you know how little Godzilla there was in Godzilla vs. Biollante, which was my first Godzilla movie I ever watched when I was way too young to be watching that sort of thing? There wasn't very much Godzilla. It was mainly human-based. That's what's wrong, I think. Right? With this, with the 1998 one, with a little bit of the 2014 and King of the Monsters, the humans are not interesting. The humans should be the main point of the story. Whether they're fighting against Godzilla, Godzilla's helping them against an alien invader, or whatever. The humans have to be the center of the story, because you're not going to identify with Godzilla. Love you, G-Man, but we're not going to identify with a massive fire-breathing lizard bent on destroying the world. We will identify with the humans attempting to stop him from that. Whether he was created through our own invention of the nuclear bomb, or whether he's a response to the nuclear bomb and to human encroachment onto nature that's created by nature, does not matter. The fact of the matter is, just like a good zombie movie and story, looking at you, Walking Dead, the humans have to be interesting in order for the story to work. Because bashing zombie brains in for 20 seasons at this point gets really, really stale. Same with Godzilla could have gotten really stale. And in this movie, boy, if you didn't leave a baguette out in the middle of the street for 7 days in Arizona, that's how stale this movie is. Because how stale the humans are. I'm getting heated. Blake is unlikable. He is hell-bent for leather on revenge, whether that be on Godzilla, whether that be on other human counterparts, because it's discovered that they're actually jettisoning out. Here's the other thing about humans. I understand resources are running out, and I understand that we probably would end up doing this if we ever went out to space because of a giant lizard. When the humans start to run out of resources, instead of inspecting planets and stuff, they put the guys out that they're inspecting planets. They're not really. They're actually jettisoning out the old and the sick and the frail into spaceships that will blow up. You are expected to like, later on in the story, some of the people in the chain of command that did that. So already it's a complete failure on the humans' part, and I think you can agree with me, based solely on the fact that you are expected to like and feel bad for their eventual demise, when the same humans that murdered the grandfather of old boy here in cold blood, you're expected to feel bad for them. That's not, I don't think you can do that, okay? I don't think you can make a story like that. We're going on down to the aliens, right? Back down to the aliens. Because, like I said, their main goal is living metal. They want to become one with machines. That's where the Mechagodzilla plunder comes in. As you can see, we're on to the next movie. It's just as bad as the last one. I was holding out hope for the next one because I was like, hey, you know, maybe they read the reviews and they're gonna do something different. No, why would they do that? This old boy here, I'm gonna call him Thornton. He doesn't look like a Billy Bob to me. Thornton there, they've all stumbled across Mechagodzilla, right? So before the Billies and the Exif and the humans all left planet Earth, they tried to create Mechagodzilla to destroy Godzilla. Textbook, right? Mechagodzilla has always been created to destroy Godzilla. It's pretty much always why he's been created. Totally feasible. However, they used this metal called nanometal because they couldn't come up with literally anything cool sounding other than nano, because nanotechnology, nano this, nano that, Avengers, blah. So boring. They created nanometal to create Mechagodzilla. Well, Godzilla friggin' pwned Mechagodzilla, as he usually does, and, you know, sent him to a cavern. Just beat the crap out of him and then just let him die on his own, right? Well, fun fact, you can't really kill nanometal unless you melt it all down. Don't forget that. Nanometal's alive. What did I say about old Billy Bob Thornton and Jr.? They want to become living metal. Nanometal is like them. They want to become nanometal. Mechagodzilla dies, but not really. In the 10,000 years, which, correction, 20,000 years, I watched a little bit of this while I was waiting for the camera to cool down. The 20,000 years it's been gone, all it's been doing is trying to become a city structure and trying to kill Godzilla. So you're introduced to this idea by these two little dragon things, small little King Ghidorah looking things flying around, and then just getting spiked through the heart by Mechagodzilla because it senses that Godzilla is near. Because like I said earlier, the Earth is trying to become Godzilla. Yes? Yes, you're following me. They go into the town, they realize this is all Mechagodzilla. The people that they have met, oh, by the way, they meet people on the planet who are like Mothra spawn. That's what it's implied. Mothra never makes an appearance, just by the way. So we don't get to see her die 50th time. They're kind of like Mothra, and they're kind of like the last remnants of organic life on the planet that's not like metal, like Godzilla or Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla is dormant. But these guys, Billy, think that they can revive him. And in order to they're going to revive him and they're going to beat Godzilla like at the same time. Mechagodzilla never makes an appearance in this film. And for someone who loves Mechagodzilla so much, that hurt me to my core. Why did you do this to me, Netflix? You promised me Mechagodzilla, you gave me a Mechagodzilla with no Mechagodzilla. We're almost done on Mechagodzilla, I swear, but it's one of the biggest disappointments of the series, and a lot of fans feel very strongly about this, me included. Mechagodzilla is revived, and they're going to use the kind of molten existence that Mechagodzilla is to trap Godzilla in and kill him. Because what Mechagodzilla is made out of, the nanometal, is toxic. Number one to everything, but number two especially to Godzilla, because it was specifically created by the Billy in order to destroy Godzilla. So they're gonna lure him in. In order to do that, they gotta go make him mad and they gotta bring him over, right? He's slow moving, they gotta get him over there. Well, they fly over there in like all these like little robot mech jets things. They get him over, you know, blah, blah, blah. Billy fused with the Mechagodzilla, you know, the whole time the humanoid people on the planet are like, no, don't let the Billy touch the Mechagodzilla because it's poison, blah. People are getting sick, whatever. I don't care. I care so little about the Mothra people. I'm just gonna call them the moths. I care so little about the moths, I'm not even gonna write them down because they suck so bad. They're not the mini fairies of all the old movies. They're these weird, sexualized creatures, and it's very, very insinuated that Blake and a couple of the other men are like heavily hitting on the women, and that there might be a little hanky-panky going on behind the scenes. Weird. They're not even your same species anymore, dude. They're now a moth, basically. These guys, Billy Bob Thornton and Jr., become one with Mechagodzilla. They start to revive him, and they start kind of doing their own thing. Oh no! Danger! Will Robertson, danger! It doesn't mean anything. The whole thing melts down. When they bring Godzilla into it, Godzilla gets stuck in the molten Mechagodzilla, which is supposed to kill him. He just kind of shrugs it off and gets up after the molten Mechagodzilla stops, because I think Blake stops the molten happening. One of the moth girls stops Blake and is like, no, you can't do it, no. So they don't do it. They don't speak. They speak through telepathy. It's so stupid. Billy Bob Thornton and Jr. all die. Good. We didn't care about you anyways. The only people left are Blake, his side chick, which I've barely mentioned because she really doesn't matter. She kind of does at the very end, and you'll see why. So I'll just put side piece, because we all know he's chasing that moth, boy. Mechagodzilla melted down. Godzilla just gets back up and becomes the dominant life form on Earth again. Whatever. So Mechagodzilla was a complete waste of time. It wasn't really Mechagodzilla, so you lied to me, Netflix. Oh, it was Mechagodzilla. No, it wasn't. Shut up. You're wrong. Unless it's bipedal and it looks sort of like Godzilla, it's not Mechagodzilla, and it's made out of metal. It's not Mechagodzilla. You cannot pee on my head and tell me that it is raining. That was such a cop-out. Such a cop-out. Let's move on to the third movie where my boy King Ghidorah gets pretty much the same respect. So remember how I said that the Exif, this guy here, James, oh no, my battery's running out. Yeah, James here is hyper-religious. That really has not played in until this last bit. It's kind of hinted at through the whole time. It's not really leaned into, let's just say, until this last movie. Because throughout the entire thing, they're trying to do this cute thing of like, oh, the god that they believe in has 3 heads, and like he wears a golden, coat of armor, and like all this other stuff. And so you're like, okay, it's King Ghidorah. You worship King Ghidorah. Just say you worship King Ghidorah. You know who it is. Netflix, stop trying to be cute. It's King Ghidorah. I'm in an abusive relationship with Netflix because at this point, they'd hurt me twice, and I went back a third time. And I said, you cannot mess up. Sorry, buddy. King Ghidorah. He's a 3-headed dragon that shoots lightning out of his mouth. He's bigger than Godzilla, and he's technically like the biggest threat to Godzilla, aside from Destroya, if you want to lean into I think it's Heisei era of Godzilla, is like the antithesis of what Godzilla is. King Ghidorah is not from this earth, it's an alien. Godzilla is this earth. You know what I mean? So this should be like a roaring of the Titans. It should be like a, whoa, like, how is Godzilla going to get out of this? And then the humans are going to eventually have to help Godzilla, blah, blah, blah. Spoiler alert, they kind of do. So then it comes out in this that, yes, the Exif worship, and especially James, because James is like the high priest, who's also the moral compass of Blake. Do not forget that, because it leads to tension later on. Not really, because Blake's going to do the right thing, because he's a cookie cutter, stereotypical hero in the end of the story, and it's so stupid. He only did one good thing throughout the entirety of the story, and I'll tell you what it is at the end. James is leading a cult to worship Godzilla, to worship King Ghidorah, who now has not only Exif, but also has humans in it. Ooh, interesting. You don't care, and I don't care, because the Exif are basically humans, and so are these guys. They're all humans, basically. They're not really aliens. I hate that so much. Anyways, these are basically just elves. These are basically just dwarves. You could have set this in Middle-earth, and it would have made more sense. They're worshiping King Ghidorah, and in order to beat Godzilla, they want to summon King Ghidorah through this hell portal, basically. So I'm thinking they're going to open up, Warhammer 40k fans out there, they're going to open up like a warp, right? Through chaos, and they're going to come through, and King Ghidorah is going to manifest. That's what I thought was going to happen. That is kind of what happens. So this is a death cult, this religion, so we're just going to call it death cult. It's not really a religion, it is actually a death cult. Beginning of the movie, or middle, or whatever part this is, because now the wormhole's opening, it's about the middle. They open up a death cult wormhole through space, because the Exif are like, hey, if you're a true follower and you really want to sing King Ghidorah, kill yourself. All of the followers blindly do it. Whatever, I don't care anymore. Wormhole opens, and this abomination of King Ghidorah comes out. What is this? It's ramen noodles. It's ramen noodles. That's what you've given me, Netflix. You've given me ramen noodles that are coming down to intertwine with a mountain. King Ghidorah comes down, and he attacks the humans, and then he attacks... I keep on calling him a him because he's King Ghidorah. I know some people refer to him as her, which I think is really weird, because if it was her, it would be Queen Ghidorah. Whatever. I don't care. King Ghidorah comes down and attacks Godzilla. Now this is really where it gets interesting, because the humans are like, wait, that's a death cult monster and a demon and not our salvation. So maybe we shouldn't side with it. So they don't. So they start to shoot at it, and that's when they realize that they can't shoot it. It goes through it, and Godzilla can't grab it or atomic heat ray it or anything. And this is where you learn the stupidest thing about this universe is King Ghidorah. He's not real. He is a god. I wish I was making this up. King Ghidorah is a god in this universe who can transverse space and time so that you cannot affect him, but he can affect you. So anyways, it's so stupid, man. So stupid. You can summon this guy with enough dead people, right? And then he can't die, basically. as long as like the cult leader is still performing the rituals. This goes back to, why didn't the Exif summon this guy to their homeworld? Did he come in? You know, because what he could have done was just come in and destroy the Godzilla on the planet, and then the cult ritual guy could have been like, okay, see you later, King Ghidorah, and then just stop the ritual, and then he would have had to leave. Because at the end of this movie, all they gotta do is kill James. All they gotta do is kill James, and then King Ghidorah goes back up into space. That's the end of the movie. That's not the end of the movie. It gets worse. So King Ghidorah is an ethereal being that's not real. He's a god, and cannot die unless you stop waving around your tambourine, you know, and do a funky little dance. That's how King Ghidorah dies. If you stop doing that, he's gone. He's not really gone though, because he's a god, so he can be summoned back. Shut this down. Let me just give you some closing remarks, real quick. King Ghidorah is eliminated because the portal's closed, or whatever, and he goes back up into space, or chaos, or whatever you want to believe. And he's gone. And then Godzilla is free to roam the Earth again. Godzilla, Netflix Godzilla, the trilogy, ends with Blake taking his side chick, who somehow got infected with nanometal from Mechagodzilla, who is dead. And that was the last of the nanometal on Earth, but now the last of the nanometal on Earth resides within his side piece, not his moth. I'm not going to write them down. I forgot. I made that rule. Not his moth girl, but his side piece is now infected with nanometal, so instead of just sacrificing her for the good of mankind, because clearly humans are good with doing that since they've been doing it for a couple of decades, he puts her in a mech with him, the same mechs that drew Godzilla to Mechagodzilla, if you can remember that far back. I can barely remember that far back. My brain feels like it went through a blender. He puts them both in, has some crappy dialogue about James, who I forgot got killed, and then Billy Bob Thornton and Jr., humans, the rest of the aliens, Godzilla, and Mechagodzilla, and I think he says something about King Ghidorah too. He just wraps up everything. And then flies himself into the side of Godzilla, or I think Godzilla wipes him out with his atomic breath, killing both him and his side piece. His moth girl will never know why Blake never came back. And I think that's the saddest part of the story. I'm cracking up, as you can hear. Closing remarks. Y'all seen the movie Avatar with directed by James Cameron? Not the Avatar: The Last Airbender, but that Avatar. You get the same message pretty much out of it for about the same runtime, I think, for all three movies, because I think all three movies are about 3 hours long, and I think James Cameron's Avatar is about three hours long. This sucked. This was not Godzilla, as my diagram clearly shows. This was some stupid interpretation of Godzilla that should have never been greenlit, and all it's done is hurt the brand of Godzilla further, like we needed that. Thank you guys very much so for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like and a comment with your favorite part of this, I don't know how long, essay, basically. That's just one stream of consciousness. I would always take the stairs. If you get tired, pull over, call me. I probably won't be up for too much longer. But remember, grab a hotel, whatever you need to do. Just want you to stay safe. And see you guys in the next one.